Hello, and welcome to another edition of Rue News. I'm Abby Higginbotham.
And I'm Darius Stewart. We're here to bring you the news from around campus and Kansas City every Tuesday.
We start our story today with UMKC's Conservatory Fall Dance Concert, which was last week, and Rue News got a special look at the event. We go to Henry Gamber with more.
I'm Henry Gamber with Rue News. UMKC's Conservatory just had their Fall Dance Concert, which featured choreography by the professors and by special guest Christopher Huggins. We spoke to Assistant Professor Michael Blake and Senior Colin Frederick and Emily Moreland to find out more about the concert.
Honestly, it's a lot of work because we're in this building like 12 to 13 hours a day usually, which is a lot, and we're with all of the same people constantly. So obviously we all know each other really well.
So in the morning from 9 to noon we have 2 technique classes. We have ballet and we have modern, and then generally after that we kind of have a break. Some other classes have a composition where they work on choreography, and then starting around 5 you have rehearsals, and those can last up until 9 o'clock at night.
I just moved here from New York City after living there for 40 years, so coming to Kansas City was first a shock and now a joy. So I'm very happy working in the dance department here and living in Kansas City, Missouri. This is an extraordinary program with extraordinary dancers, so I'm just excited about the whole thing, being here and working with the people I work with.
Make sure to check out the Conservatory website to find out more about upcoming performances. I'm Henry Gamber, and this is Rue News.
Thanks, Henry. Last week, fellow student Ryan Kemper's wheelchair-accessible truck was stolen out of the Cherry Street parking garage. Aside from just being an awful crime, the vehicle itself, which is customized to Kemper's needs, was later found heavily damaged with multiple pieces of equipment missing. All hope is not lost, however, because the response from the general populace of Kansas City has been amazing. With the cost of damages estimated exceeding $20,000, a GoFundMe page was started with the goal of half of that. In 24 hours, the amount was already exceeded. In addition, Eric Martin, owner of KC Tintworks, plans on having his team fix the truck at no cost to Kemper, and hopes that the proceeds from the GoFundMe campaign will still go to him. It still gives a bit of hope for the goodness in the world.
More in Conservatory news, the Associate Professor of Music Composition, Yotam Haber, is one of the 3 winners of the A. Israeli Foundation Award, receiving an A. Israeli Commission for Jewish Music. The award, established in 2014, given every other year, the A. Israeli Music Prizes work off of creativity and celebration of excellence with music composition. Congratulations, Professor Haber. We look forward to seeing more of what's to come.
That's it for today's top stories. Next, let's go to our sports correspondent, Kennedy Bright.
Thanks, guys. First up, Kansas City men's basketball took on Drake University on the road Wednesday night, falling 76-58. The Roos were led by senior forward Jordan Giles with 15 points and 6 rebounds, and senior forward Jabin White with 11 points and 3 rebounds. Kansas City continued their road trip to Wisconsin to take on the University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on Friday night in a good second-half fight, losing 61-52. The Roos were led by senior guard Rob Whitfield and junior guard Brandon McKissick with 10 points apiece and Giles with 7. Up next, Kansas City women's basketball beat Portland State 87-69 last Friday night, led by freshman forward Tasia Foster Walker with 19 points and sophomore guard Emily Ivory with 17 points. On Saturday, the Roos lost 74-64 to Davidson College, led by senior guard Erica Mattingly with 21 points and Ivory with 17. Coming up, Kansas City women's basketball takes on Rockhurst University Tuesday, November 19th in the Sweeney Center at 6 p.m. and Friday, November 22nd against Loyola Chicago at 11 a.m. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Rue Nation Sports for all updates over the break. That's your Kansas City Sports Update. I'm Kennedy Bright with Rue News. Back to you, Darius and Abby.
Thanks, Kennedy. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and that means pumpkin pie, turkey, and stuffing galore. Historically, it's known as the day when Pilgrims and Native Americans came together in harmony and celebrated peace between the two groups. However, that's far from the real story. Rue News went out around campus to find out if students and professors knew the actual story of Thanksgiving.
Most people that I know, they just say it's just to say thank you for everything God gave it to them during the year. That's the story I hear from everybody that I know.
The way that I was taught about Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly, was like a little Thanksgiving play in kindergarten where half the class would dress up as pilgrims and then half the class would dress as Native Americans.
I came from a family where we we're thankful for everything that we had every day of our lives. So it was very unusual for me. I thought it was kind of strange that we had to one day celebrate to be thankful for.
They got them to eat, you know what I'm saying, big feast. After that, you know, they genocide start happening. So they traded food and like the ways to like, you know, eat in like the winters and like the fall time for their weapons. But the weapons, you know, ain't work out. Am I saying the right story right now? Am I like off?
We talked to Professor Matthew Osborne, who teaches colonial America and Native American history, to go into detail on the real story.
So the Pilgrims were a small band of settlers who come to the New England region there were about 100 of them that arrive in 1620. They arrive in a portion of the coast that they had no idea had just gone through devastating series of epidemics. So the local people, there were probably about 15,000 of them in 1615, and only 1,000 survived by 1620 when the Pilgrims show up. So what Thanksgiving really was a treaty that the Pilgrims formed with the Wampanoags. From the Pilgrim perspective, they were privileging a very vulnerable group, the Wampanoags. This elevated the Wampanoags and enabled them, it privileged their trading relationships with the English, absolutely worthy of remembrance, right? And admiring the Wampanoag and the Pilgrims for being able to survive in situations that were deeply difficult and uncomfortable.
So that's all we have for you today. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Rue News. I'm Darius Stewart.
And I'm Abby Higginbotham. See you next Tuesday.